In a world where money speaks the loudest, one woman owned it all. A titan of industry, she commanded empires, yet found herself suffocating in a gilded cage of her own making. Searching for truth in a landscape of lies, she embarked on a radical experiment. She would feign unconsciousness, hoping to expose the cold indifference she believed was the heart of humanity. But what she received wasn't the apathy she anticipated, nor the exploitation she feared. Instead, from the lips of a struggling single father, she heard words that peeled back her carefully constructed cynicism, words that spoke of a treasure she never knew existed. This isn't just a story of wealth and poverty. This is the story of Sylvie Thorne, Kairos Jones, and a single, unexpected moment that shattered everything she thought she knew. Olympus City, a monument to ambition, a crucible of innovation, and at its very zenith sat Sylvie Thorne. At 38, her name was etched into the digital firmament, synonymous with disruption and foresight. Her company, Ascend Global, wasn't just a tech giant, it was a force shaping how millions lived, worked, and connected. From her perch, she overlooked a city she had in many ways helped to build. Her personal net worth wasn't just substantial, it was an astronomical figure that whispered of unimaginable power. Sylvie's journey wasn't one of inherited privilege. She was a self-made force, her intellect sharper than any blade, her drive relentless. Every penny, every billion was earned through sheer will and a profound understanding of the future. Yet this monumental success had carved an equally monumental chasm in her life. The higher she climbed, the more isolated she became. Her world had become a meticulously curated bubble of strategists, sycophants, and competitors. Every smile had an agenda, every conversation a veiled negotiation. People saw Sylvie Thorne, the brand, the titan, the legend, the bank account. They rarely, if ever, saw Sylvie, the woman who, in quieter moments, yearned for something simpler. This profound loneliness, this isolation, had slowly fermented into a potent cynicism. Sylvie believed humanity at its core was transactional. Kindness, she concluded, was merely a currency in disguise, an investment for a future return. Her experiences had taught her that genuine, selfless compassion was either a myth or a weakness. It wasn't bitterness, but rather a cold, logical conclusion drawn from years of observing how power distorted human interaction. And yet, deep within this fortress of logic, a tiny, rebellious ember of hope still flickered, a yearning for authenticity, a desperate desire to be proven wrong. What if, just maybe, kindness did exist, untainted by ambition or the promise of financial gain? This question, nagging and persistent, led to an unconventional, even absurd experiment. She would shed her identity, strip away her power, and observe humanity from its rawest, most vulnerable point. The planning was meticulous. She chose Centennial Green, a sprawling public park nestled between the city's gleaming towers and its historic arts quarter, a place frequented by many, yet anonymous enough for her purpose. She would go alone. No security, no assistance, dressed in clothes that were simply clothes, nondescript but hinting at quality, designed to blend, not to stand out. Her goal was stark, to see if genuine compassion existed when there was absolutely nothing to gain. The crisp air of a Tuesday morning bit at Sylvie's cheeks as she walked toward Centennial Green. The park, a patchwork of autumn colors, offered a temporary truce from the city's ceaseless hum. She found her chosen spot, a weathered stone bench beneath a grand, gnarled oak, its leaves a riot of amber and russet. With practiced grace, she allowed herself to slump forward, her head coming to rest gently against the cool, smooth stone. Her eyes remained half-lidded, unfocused, observing the blurred motion of the world through a veil of feigned unconsciousness. Her small, understated designer tote, containing nothing of significant value, lay casually beside her, designed to appear of no particular interest to an opportunistic passerby. Internally, a tense silence reigned. This was it, the moment of truth. The initial minutes unfolded exactly as her cynicism predicted. Business professionals hurried past, their gazes flitting over her for a fleeting moment before dismissing her as an unfortunate anomaly, an inconvenience in their busy lives. A young couple, deeply engrossed in a passionate conversation, barely registered her still form. A park maintenance worker, pushing his cart past, glanced, hesitated for a second, then continued his route, probably assuming she was just resting, perhaps a little too deeply. Each indifferent passerby reinforced her worldview, a quiet confirmation of what she already believed. People were too busy, too self-absorbed, or too wary to care. The experiment was proving her right, but offering no solace. A heavy, familiar resignation began to settle deeper into her bones, a bitter validation. Just as that familiar, heavy resignation began to settle deeper into her bones, a different kind of sound approached. Not the quick, sharp footsteps of ambition, but a slower, more rhythmic tread, accompanied by the lighter patter of a child's shoes. She heard a soft, melodic humming, a child's voice, and then a deeper, warm baritone. "Almost there, Papa? Can we stop by the ducks?" "Almost there, Lena Bug. Just gotta drop off this last batch of wallets at the gallery, and then we can get that new picture book you saw. A quick stop, yes, but we can't be too late, or Mr. Albright will think I forgot." Sylvie heard the footsteps slow, then stop directly beside her bench. A shadow fell over her, longer and more substantial than any before. This presence felt different. Lena, who was usually absorbed in pointing out squirrels or pigeons, tugged at her father's sleeve. "Papa, look, that lady. She looks like she's very, very sleepy." Have you ever found yourself so consumed by life's demands that you overlooked someone in need? Sometimes the smallest voice can open our eyes to what truly matters. Keep watching to see how this small voice and her father's profound compassion would forever change Sylvie's world. Kairos Jones, known simply as Kai, carried the world's weight in his calloused hands, hands that could transform raw, unyielding leather into works of art. A custom leather artisan, his small studio on the city's less fashionable side was a testament to his skill and unwavering dedication. His creations, bespoke wallets, elegant satchels, intricate book covers, whispered tales of old-world craftsmanship and enduring quality. But in Olympus City, a bespoke trade often meant a constant, grinding struggle against bills, rent, and the ever-present demands of a single parent. 3 years ago, his world had been irrevocably altered. Amara, his beloved partner and Lena's mother, had been taken by a sudden, devastating cardiac event, an undiagnosed fragility in her heart that simply gave out without warning. The shock, the grief, the subsequent medical expenses, and the crushing responsibility of raising their daughter alone had been an ordeal that would have broken a lesser man. But Kai, a man of quiet strength, found his anchor in Lena's bright eyes and resilient spirit. Every late night spent stitching, every early morning delivering, every scraped-together meal, it was all for her. Today was particularly challenging. His old delivery van had finally sputtered its last breath that very morning, leaving him to make his rounds on foot, Lena's small hand held firmly in his. The last delivery was to a gallery near Centennial Green, a short walk he hoped would offer a brief respite before heading to the public library for Lena's weekly book exchange. His schedule was tight, his resources stretched thin. As they neared the bench, Lena's gentle tug and worried whisper instantly drew Kai's attention to Sylvie's still form. His first instinct was the ingrained wariness of a man who'd seen enough of life's unfairness to be cautious. He had precious little time and a tight schedule. But then he saw Lena's wide, earnest eyes mirroring the innate compassion he hoped to nurture in her. "Let's just check, little one." He approached with caution, not wanting to startle her if she was merely asleep. "Ma'am, are you all right? Can you hear me?" Only the distant hum of city traffic answered. Kai leaned closer, his brow furrowed with genuine concern.
He didn't immediately touch her, but his eyes quickly scanned for any obvious signs of distress or injury. He noticed the quiet quality of her coat, the expensive fabric, but his mind quickly dismissed superficial details. She was simply a human being who seemed to be in trouble. He reached out and gently placed 2 fingers on her wrist, feeling for a pulse. It was there, steady, though a touch quickened. No obvious external wounds. "I should call for help, Lena. She looks like she might need medical attention." The park was still, sparsely populated. No one else seemed to notice or care. He put the phone away. He couldn't just leave her, not with Lena watching, not with his own conscience urging him to stay. He had to wait, to make sure someone official arrived, or she showed signs of stirring. He looked at Lena, whose small hand was now resting on his arm, her gaze fixed on the motionless woman, a quiet apprehension in her eyes. He sighed, a deep, weary sound that seemed to carry the weight of countless early mornings and late nights, of unspoken struggles. He gently adjusted Sylvie's head, ensuring she was safely positioned against the bench, her breathing unobstructed. He knew what it felt like to be vulnerable, to be at the mercy of circumstances, to be unseen by a world too busy to notice. Then he spoke, his voice a low, thoughtful murmur, meant perhaps more for Lena and his own steadying spirit than for the seemingly unconscious woman. But Sylvie, feigning deep slumber, heard every word with crystal clarity, each one pierced through the carefully constructed facade of her experiment. "You know, Lena Bug, life's funny, isn't it? One minute you're strong, planning. Everything feels right. You're walking along thinking about what you need to do, what bills are due, what craft to make next. And the next, you could be lying here, needing a hand, needing someone just to see you. We've learned that, haven't we? Losing your mama, it taught us how fragile things can be, how quickly the ground can shift under your feet without any warning. But it also taught us something else, that even when things are hardest, even when you feel like you have nothing left to give, you still have kindness. You still have your heart. It's not about what someone looks like, or what they have in their pockets, or what kind of fancy car they drive, or even if they've done anything special. It's just that they're here, that they're breathing, and that means they deserve care. Every single person, no matter what. Even when we're barely keeping our own heads above water, we still have that to offer. That's the real treasure, isn't it? Being able to give a little of yourself when someone else might need it most. That's how we honor Mama's memory, by being good people. He looked down at Lena, who nodded solemnly, absorbing his words with childlike sincerity. Then he gently placed his own large hand, calloused from his trade, on Sylvie's shoulder, a purely human gesture of quiet solidarity. "We'll stay with you, ma'am, until someone comes to help. You're not alone." If this story is touching your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to True Black Tales for more inspiring true stories of human connection that transcend circumstance. Every like helps us share these powerful messages. Sylvie's carefully constructed indifference shattered. The meticulously controlled cynicism she had nurtured for years, believing it to be a shield, crumbled into dust. She had staged an experiment to confirm her jaded worldview, to find a flaw in the fabric of humanity. Instead, she had found Kai. He, a man burdened by visible struggle, by the silent ache of a profound loss, had seen not a potential mark, not an inconvenience, but simply another human being in need. A human being deserving of warmth, of a profound, unconditional compassion. He spoke of kindness as the real treasure, while she, with all her billions, had utterly lost sight of its very existence. Her wealth, once a symbol of her triumph, now felt like a gilded cage, isolating her from the very humanity she yearned for. Sylvie felt a profound ache, not of pity for Kai, but of a piercing shame for herself, a sudden overwhelming yearning to reclaim something she hadn't even realized she'd lost. His words, born of hardship and resilience, delivered with such humble sincerity, weren't just stunning, they were a revelation. They weren't directed at her wealth or her status, but at the universal truth of human connection, a truth she had forgotten, or perhaps never truly understood. The world, through Kairos Jones' eyes, had suddenly become a place of unexpected, heartbreaking beauty, and a possibility for genuine connection that she had long believed was just another illusion. Slowly, deliberately, Sylvie began to stir, feigning a slow, confused awakening. As her eyes fluttered open, she met Kai's gaze, a gaze devoid of judgment, full only of gentle concern. It was a look she hadn't encountered in years, a genuine, unburdened empathy. "Oh, good. You're coming around. Are you all right, ma'am? Do you need water, or should I still call for someone?" "Water, yes, please. I don't know what happened. Thank you."
Kai, ever practical, offered a small, worn water bottle from his bag. Lena, still clinging to her father, watched with wide-eyed curiosity. Sylvie took a small, shaky sip, using the moment to compose herself, to maintain her facade. She knew she couldn't just vanish. There was something more she needed to do. "Thank you, both of you. I must have just blacked out. I feel a bit disoriented. You've been so kind. I really must thank you properly. What's your name?" Kai, humble and hesitant, clearly didn't expect or want any reward, but Sylvie insisted, her tone firm yet grateful. "Kairos Jones, ma'am, and this is my daughter, Lena. We were just passing through." "Kairos. Lena. Thank you. I'm Sylvie. I'm so grateful. I run a foundation that looks for people who embody true community spirit. I'd love to thank you properly. Do you have a card or just a way I can reach you?" Reluctantly, Kai produced a simple, elegant business card for Kairos Leatherworks. Sylvie took it, her fingers brushing his calloused ones, a stark contrast to her own smooth skin. She rose slowly, still feigning a slight shakiness, her resolve solidified. Her experiment had yielded an unexpected, profoundly moving result. As she walked back from the bench, back towards the bustling city, her entire world-view was irrevocably shifted. The walk back to her waiting driver is a blur, her mind consumed not by business deals or market trends, but by the authentic humanity she had just witnessed. Sylvie Thorne, the billionaire, felt more profoundly human than she had in years. What does true wealth mean to you? Is it about money or something deeper? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective truly matters. The weeks that followed were a testament to Sylvie's newfound purpose. She used her resources not for self-enrichment, but for discreet, targeted action. Her first step was a thorough yet covert background check on Kairos Jones. The reports confirmed his struggles, his unwavering integrity, his quiet devotion to Lena. He was everything his words had promised. Soon, strange things began to happen in Kai's life. His old delivery van, which had been declared irreparable, mysteriously found itself in a repair shop and returned to him fully functional, with the bill already settled. A community grant, the mechanic vaguely explained. Then, a new, better-equipped workspace became available, presented as a creative arts initiative for promising local artisans. And almost overnight, orders for Kai's unique leather goods began to mysteriously increase, not from the usual small clients, but from high-end boutiques and discerning collectors who seemed to have suddenly discovered his work. Kai was bewildered, but deeply grateful. His life and Lena's began to stabilize, transforming from a constant struggle into a burgeoning success.
He attributed it to hard work, a little luck, and perhaps a touch of grace. Months later, Sylvie arranged a meeting with Kai, ostensibly to check in on his progress. She visited his new, thriving workshop. The air was thick with the scent of leather, creativity, and the quiet hum of productivity. Lena, a little older and more confident, offered Sylvie a shy drawing. And then Sylvie, deeply humbled, made her confession. She told him about her experiment, her cynical worldview, and how his words on that park bench had shattered it all. It was a raw, vulnerable admission, devoid of her usual corporate polish. Kai listened, his initial shock slowly giving way to a profound understanding. There was no anger, no resentment, only a quiet, deep recognition. He saw not the powerful billionaire, but the woman who had sought truth and found it in an unexpected place. In that moment, a true connection was forged. Sylvie offered a partnership, not charity, an investment in his craft, support for Lena's future, an acknowledgement of the intrinsic value he brought to the world. A bond built not on wealth, but on a shared moment of vulnerability and profound understanding. Sylvie Thorne's empire continued to grow, but her approach to it and to life was irrevocably changed. No longer isolated, she channeled her immense ambition into meaningful impact, her cynicism replaced by genuine empathy and a deep commitment to human connection. Her wealth now served a higher purpose, invested not just in technology, but in people. Kai and Lena's lives flourished. His workshop became a beacon of quality craftsmanship, providing not just income, but purpose and stability. Lena thrived, secure and loved, growing up with the quiet strength and compassion her father embodied. The bond between Sylvie, Kai, and Lena endured, a testament to the transformative power of a single moment of kindness. This story reminds us that true riches aren't measured in bank accounts, but in the depths of our compassion. It's about seeing beyond appearances, recognizing the inherent worth in every person, and choosing to offer kindness even when you seem like you have nothing left to give. For Sylvie, it took losing herself, by feigning unconsciousness, to truly find humanity. For Kai, it was simply living his truth, a truth that ultimately stunned a billionaire and opened her eyes to the real treasure of the human spirit. If this story moved you, please make sure you're subscribed to True Black Tales for more inspiring stories that challenge perceptions and celebrate the enduring spirit of human kindness. Click the notification bell so you don't miss our next chapter.